We'll talk about that.
It's quite poor. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Ian. This channel is all about music and art, and this is a series of videos about Korg's Opsix FM synthesizer. The last video in this series was about how to do the firmware update, and in this video we're going to have a look at the Opsix Sound Librarian. Now, first things first, I must say, if you haven't seen my videos before, I run an M1 Mac Mini. It's my main studio computer, and currently, and this is the 2nd of July 2021, the Korg Opsix Librarian will not recognise the Opsix on a Mac 1 Mini. That's the first thing to say. So you need to have an older version. I'm sure Korg are probably working on an update for this, but currently Big Sur running on an M1 Mac Mini doesn't work. Now, it'd be interesting to know if you're using an older laptop or computer that's running Big Sur as to whether that does work. But what we're going to do is luckily I've got a MacBook Pro which I still have on Mojave. We're going to use the Korg Opsix Sound Librarian on that, and I'm going to take you through the process of first of all backing up and then putting files onto it. It's worth mentioning that in the instructions for the Opsix it says that you can use sysx. Now, I am going to do this in a separate video, but you can't use native sysx files in the Korg Opsix Sound Librarian. It has to be in Korg's proprietary format, which I have to say is a bit of a pain. But anyway, we'll get back to that. Right, so I've connected the Korg Opsix to my MacBook Pro. I've downloaded and installed the Opsix Sound Librarian, which was very straightforward. I mean, it's very straightforward on the Mac Mini, but it just doesn't work. So let's fire that up and see what happens straight out of the box, really. So the first thing we see is this receive all data, connect to the Opsix. Do you want to receive all data? Now, that's what's not happening on the M1 Mac Mini, and we say yes to that. Apart from the standard presets that are already on there, I've added a load and I've started them. Let's find them. So the standard presets go to, there's 250 of them. I've left some in, then I've actually put a few at starting at 208. I'm going to tidy all of these up actually, and then we have some more starting at 340, and they go all the way through to 435. Now, it's interesting to say that most of these presets or sound patches were taken from sysx files. What Korg tell us is that it will only take native original DX7 Mark 1 files, and it has to be in batches of 34, 35, the number of files that you'd get off a DX7. Now that's fine. It's actually not quite true, but I'm going to come back to it in a little point, because I have been able to import 4 separate files, but we'll come back to that. So they have to be native Mark 1 Yamaha DX7 files. Apparently it won't take anything else. I mean, I've not tried them, but that's what Korg is saying. And as we said, the Opsix Sound Librarian saves it in its own particular format. So it's not just standard sysx. We're going to need another bit of software to do that, but I say that's in the next video. But what I'm going to do is I want to move these files around, really. So I'm going to go through that now. once we're actually working on this set of files, we can move them around. So I've just grabbed 4 files here, and actually they're just copies of factory presets. So what I can do is I'm just going to delete them, and what it says is it says initialize programs. The selected programs will be initialized, so continue. Basically it wipes them and puts them back as just an initial file. We're going to say OK to that. And down here, so we know the presets, factory presets finish at 250. I'm going to put all of the other files that I've got on here straight from 251. So we've got a bank here, and so the way to do this is to click on the first one. I'm working on a Mac, so it'd be different on Windows maybe, and then FN key and the up arrow key will select. If I go down to right to the end, so I've selected them all. I can now just literally grab them and move them up. So let's get it up to so there we are. I've moved all of those presets, sound files. So all of my sound files now go from the start to 356. Now some of these files are the original DX7 34 patches, and then there is a whole host of other patches which have been donated by other people. I will put the links to their sites down below in the description. So all that we've done is we've moved them around, and we've actually still got them in the sound editor. So what we're going to do now is we're going to back that up, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer them from here back onto the Opsix. So the way that we back them up is in the Opsix Sound Librarian memory, we've got a save library. So we're going to call this Ian's latest Opsix. And I'm just going to save it onto the desktop. Click on save, job done. Okay, now what we now want to do is we've got a backup of them, so if anything horrible goes wrong, I've got those files stored, so I can always then import them back into here. So let's do that. Let's import them. So the easiest way to do this is we've got some send and receive messages here. So we've got programs, we've got send all. So if we send all of these, we get a write operation. This will overwrite the data on your Opsix. We can say continue or not. We'll say OK. We'll wait a few seconds, and it doesn't show us anything on here. But it has now. But because the violin 3, which is patch 254, we saw it suddenly changed to brass 1. So that's all done. That's it. That's great. If I just show you, the Op6 file format is an .op6 lib file. There are a few others as well that it's Korg's own file format. The only other thing you can do is if you have, say, a couple of these, but they're not just backups, you've got different files on them. What you can do is you can merge them, and the way that we merge them, if we go up to file on the menu up here and we've got a merged library, we get another, and we look for one. Let's choose the one we've just created. We're not actually going to go through this, but on that's the latest one. If we open that, what we get is we get this second box, which is a merge box, and what we see is we see what's on the Op6, but we also see what's on the Sound Librarian as well. So here's what's on our Op6. if we just grab another file and drag it across to there, click on merge, and then we will see it here, and we'll have to send all, as we've done before. Takes a few seconds because it's going to send all of the files again, and when we look here, we've now got the Dubstab 2020. So I hope that helps, and especially for you guys that have got an M1 Mac that are having trouble with this sort of thing. In the next video we will be using the M1 Mac because we will be using standard sysx files and using a piece of software called Opsix Librarian to actually be able to put files onto the Opsix. Slightly different process than we've got here. I mean, once the files are on there, you can obviously back them up to the Opsix Librarian, edit them, mess around with them, do what you want with them, and then you can always re-import them backwards and forwards. This is a bit of a faff, but at the moment it's what we're going to have to do because the Opsix Librarian does not take standard sysx files. Okay, so thanks so much for watching. If you like what I do, hit the subscribe button, and a thumbs up is always much appreciated, and I'll see you next time. So thanks now. Cheers. Bye bye.